Currently our sheep operation is doing pretty okay, but the first few years, not okay. Not even a little bit okay. And we've come a long way in 7 years. Today I wanted to share the 5 inexpensive things that I've used on my farm to help improve it. One of the things that I started doing probably the second or third year in, because the first couple years were just so overwhelming and I didn't really know what to focus on or what to do, is I started to make systems. Instead of just one big huge flock doing God knows what and God knows when, I divided the flock into 3 main management groups. After I divided the group, it just became so much more detail oriented. Basically on a planner or a day timer, I can start blocking in exactly when every management job has to be done within a few days, right? So as long as I know what week I have to get stuff done, then I can balance that through my life. Sitting on boards and being active, and also helping mark in the field, it really starts to limit how much time I can focus on management jobs, and the management really has to come first on the sheep farm for me to be productive. And it's funny because I never use these things in my life, but honestly guys, day timers, my planner is my Bible when it comes to the flock. If you're a busy person and you want your career to kind of wrap around everything else going on in your life, when I know that there's big events in our life or stuff going on, or especially if it's fieldwork time, so I kind of know when the busy times are, and I try to plan my lambing groups around that because I want to be in the barn as much as possible when they're lambing. So I do have my whole breeding program set out pretty stringently. What I do is I have a planner. I kind of put down when I know I want to lamb and work backwards. And I use Excel to plug in what days will work, and then you can plug in everything based on your days after that. Here's my Excel setup for my breeding schedule. Going forward, I've put in potential dates as to when I want them to start lambing. And then I do the formula to tell me when I want the first day of breeding to be. So this next group that I want to breed them July 1st. So that means I need the seeders to go in 12 days before that. So I could even put another column in saying, you know, seeder insertion. I haven't done that, but these are the most important dates when I want to breed them. And then 6 weeks after I take out the rams is when I would book my ultrasound. And then I know when they're gonna lamb. I kind of know when they're gonna wean. I add 8 weeks to the math and figure out when they're gonna wean. And then worst case scenario, at 5 months, how old will these lambs be to clean out the barn for the next group to come in to that finishing barn after they get weaned. So that's kind of what the whole system looks like. And that's what I mean about planning your system and using the things you already have to do it. So most people have a computer. This computer is ancient. All I did was use Excel to figure out what dates I want. So I use this and I also use my day planner. My hair appointment was not part of it, but it's very important. Once I started doing that and getting systems in place, it made a huge difference. The other thing I committed to when I decided this sheep thing was gonna be a thing was to really build a team around me. I talk about this all the time, so I'm sorry about the broken recordness. The team that I'm talking about is a really good vet who is Rex, he's my vet, and a really good feed guy who's been Jamie almost from the get-go. I like having Jamie as a go-to because he's got an unbiased eye. He'll just remind me, like, did you do this? Did you do that? And I really need that. I just need someone to keep me accountable. Having people have your back when you're really, really busy. Focus more on the relationship that you're building because they can add so much more to your bottom line through that relationship and through their knowledge. They have made me a better sheep farmer, for sure. I would strongly recommend a very inexpensive thing to do is to build relationships. Another thing we do here on the farm is take feed samples. So every time I get a field harvested and I get it put in a storage bag, we take feed samples. We take feed samples when we harvest it, and we take feed samples when it's ready to be opened up. So all my rations are based on what my feed is testing. So they do all that for me, and this is worth its weight in gold. And honestly, they can make rations based on whatever you're feeding. We learned this year that yes, the cover crop got us through and got us forage, but it didn't have what those ewes needed. So we've made lots of adjustments for it. I have to admit, guys, I hate office work, I hate paperwork, I hate data collection, I hate it all. However, most of my improvement has come from the commitment to start taking data. Now, this does cost money, but it doesn't have to. You can collect data any way that you possibly can. If that means a pen and a paper and just tracking it that way, then do it. Because of my flock size, I chose to buy the Gallagher system. Now, in saying that, I did this a few years ago when there was some government funding, so I did get quite a bit of extra financial help for that system. So check with your extension, check with government programs, because there might be something in there, especially with food safety and traceability, that you might be able to figure out if there's some financial help to get some of this data collection stuff. I had it for so many years and didn't use it near as effectively or as efficiently to really track these ewes and figure out, are they costing me money? Are they really productive? You know, are some getting bred every single time I breed them? Are some always taking the 2 chances? It's things like that that I have the information there, but having this data and the ability to really analyze it and learn it, I think my management will even get better going forward. My first 3 years on the sheep farm were a disaster. I was really questioning if I made the right decision even getting into sheep farming. I knew nothing getting into it. I Googled everything because I was embarrassed that I didn't know anything. And I've always prided myself in the fact that if you work hard enough, the results will show. That's not necessarily true. So I would say that the number one thing I did with very low investment, and it depends what you consider low. For me, furthering my education has been the number one thing that I've done, that I've seen huge rewards from. So I want to talk a little bit about the Master Shepherds program that's put on by the Ontario Sheep Farmers, our organization in Ontario. So mine was in, I believe, 2014, 2015, in those years. And they're doing one right now, actually. It was such a learning curve for me. When I was in it, I'm like, oh, I wish I knew this stuff before. I wish I took this course before I had sheep. And reflecting back now, I'm actually kind of glad I went through all the things that could go wrong, that did go wrong for me, because I picked up from this course the reasons why. And part of the discouragement and the frustration on a sheep farm or any livestock farm is when things go wrong, we don't know why. And when I took this course, I believe there's about 12 modules. We did everything from health, nutrition, reproduction, breeds, marketing, business prep, accounting stuff, going over your financials, which I am brutal at. Oh man, it was basically taking a university course of sheep, and they did it over a 2-day period once a month, over about 12 months or 14 months, and they took a couple months off for lambing. It was honestly a game changer for me, and it came at a perfect time because I was at my height of being overwhelmed, wondering if I made a huge mistake. Yes, it cost me money, but I think it was super inexpensive in the long run. So that is my top 5. I really wanted those of you who are starting out, you're tight for cash, all these little things can really, really help you hone in on your skills. My vet and my feed guy, my feed analyzed and my rations developed, my systems and planning, data collection, and the number one thing is my Master Shepherds course. And even if you're just starting out your business in sheep farming, if there's some things that you know you could pay back really quick, try to do those little things. I think you'll find that that's what leads to further profitability, and then we can start looking at sheep farming as a real business and further investing in maybe some bigger things. But knock out those little ones first. It makes the big ones not seem so crazy. I hope that helps. I know people get really caught up in the money on stuff, and I'm like, there's so many little things that I didn't spend money on that made me just as good of a farmer as spending more money on bigger things to help me be a better manager. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I really want to see the sheep industry flourish. We've got a ton of potential. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments below. Share it with your friends or share it with people you know that want to get into the industry. And welcome to this industry. And thanks for watching, guys. Take care.